Welcome to another exciting episode of ZoeTV. We have a great show for you guys today. You can be able to sit back, eat some popcorn. We're talking to an amazing local celebrity.
Yes.
Would you say? I think so.
Oh, of course
Anytime I hear somebody on the news every single day, you're my book, you're a celebrity.
Well, and she's been on the news and on the radio for a very long time. We are talking with Becky Lynn, and Becky and I go back a long time. We started on KNIX with Tim and Willie. Well, she started before I did, but I started with them in 1997. Actually, we were on Wild Country for 1 year.
Right.
1 year. And then Becky was with them on Camel and KNIX.
Okay.
But now she is on KTAR with Gatos and Chad in the afternoons from 2 to 6. And then she has her own news hour with Becky Lynn. I know.
She is a busy lady.
And you've probably seen her on car commercials. You've heard her on voiceovers, on hold buttons. So anyway, Becky, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely delighted to be here. Thanks for having me. And that's so funny, Steve. Oh, I would hardly call me a local celebrity, but thank you for making me feel good.
Well, I got to tell you, I get the privilege of driving a long way home in traffic. I got quite a commute back into my world, and I immediately listen to the Chad and Gato show, and I love all your updates, and I know you come on after them, but it kind of leads me to my first question because I get so much of Chad and Gatos as I drive home. Because they are popular and you kind of, to me, seem like the one-stop news source in town, with so much news content flowing through your guys, how do you decide what is the most newsworthy each day?
You know, that's a really, it is difficult because what you hear is only a snippet of what's actually available for us to talk about. So one of the nice things about KTAR is that Gatos and Chad, who are the opinion espousers, will say, they get to talk about anything they want to. So they can take on some of the things that we might not be able to cover on the news because right now, honestly, it's been COVID. And then it was impeachment, election, impeachment. We've had pretty much the same set of stories that have been dominating the news all year long. And so, as a matter of fact, I was just talking with our news director the other day. I pitched her an idea. Someone had thrown out an idea, and I liked it. I thought it was good. I have 2 minutes to do the news every time I do the news, except for on the when we do it at 15 after and 45, and that's about a minute. So 2 minutes top and bottom and a minute on either side. That's not much time to get all the news in. So we have to really pick the most important stories that most people are wanting to know about. And right now, it's those topics I mentioned. It was COVID, election, impeachment. 2 of those are now kind of out of the way, and so we'll see what the future holds. I hope that we get to choose more.
Yes. Well, and I personally am a news junkie with you. I don't watch the news, so I only listen to it with you. And so I am wondering what, because you're right. Gatos and Chad have quite an opinion of pretty much everything. So how hard is it to tell the news without a bias?
It is hard if it can be and it can't be. So I come from old school journalism where I was always taught you're not to have an opinion. You are the news and facts person. You give people the facts. Here's the story. It's not your place to have an opinion about it. It's their place to have their own opinion about it. That has changed a lot. For a lot of the network news, you will hear many of the news anchors putting their own opinions in. And I know that there are a lot of people that like that. That's what's drawing a lot of viewers because everybody wants to hear their own opinion played back to them from somebody. So I still do not think that's the way to go. As the news anchor, I'm really try to be just the facts. And I will look at the story. I will look at any story that we have written And as I try to write it, even the words you choose in a story, your adjectives, your verbs, those can cause trouble because what you choose can reflect maybe your inward opinion. So you have to go back and look at things. So yes, it can be very, very hard.
I can imagine the due diligence that you have to do in real time if some breaking news happens or if some story gets leaked and you guys are so out in front of things, how you discern between what everybody now knows is fake news and all the common associations with that and actual hard news that might be coming out. What is that process like in the background for you guys quickly discerning that kind of information?
Well, I can tell you that even though KTAR is breaking news, that is one of the things, because we're live, we're immediate. Breaking news is one of our fortes. But I can also promise you that we have a way that we do things. I don't care if CNN has a story and they've got it on their crawl at the bottom and says this has happened, or if even one of our local television stations throws something up, until we have confirmed and verified it ourselves with the authorities or the people who are in charge. We do not ever go with rumors or even someone else's report that seems like it would be true. So you may see it somewhere else first, but I can promise you there are many times those stories get walked back because they were wrong. And we wait until we know for sure. And so when you hear the breaking news sounder on KTAR and I come on in the afternoon and tell you of a new story, it has been verified. We know it is real.
That's cool.
Wow, that's good to know, honestly, because you hear so much, and especially with COVID, one thing that happens, it's literally a new story every day. So even with COVID, how do you know? There are so many resources, so many sources. How do you know which ones to pick with COVID?
Well, we always, our main concern with COVID is our local angle, so we use the state health director, and we have the state health director on all the time. And the governor's been a little bit silent lately, but in the past we've had the governor on. But so right now we're going to, mainly it's the state health director, and we have pretty much open access to her. And so the thing I would say about COVID is that it is an ever evolving story. So it's not so much that mistakes are made with reporting or with what they say. It's mostly that it is just evolving. And so what was said today may not be true tomorrow because something changed. And so you have to try to discern, was it A, lie, B, an accident, or C, did it just change? Because this is all new. We're everybody's, I think, going through it together as we go.
Yeah. I think that's good. I think what you just said rings true in that we're all going through it, and every day is a different battle with the news. And I know anytime that you guys bring up anything to do, obviously I have two kids, one in high school, one in middle school. So having kids back in school, if you guys begin talking about that and getting, I enjoyed listening to your opinion from Chad and Gatos on my way home, but you guys seem to bring in the right people to talk to and ask hard questions, which I enjoy. But what's been your take so far on our ability to get kids back in school? And so many of our residents have grandkids, and I hear about it all the time I'm so worried about my grandkid who's not in class right now, and what's the timeline? And what do you see in your school? And I mean, what's your thoughts? You're behind the scenes and hearing all the nitty gritty. Where do you think we're going with schools?
That one is probably one of the hardest things, and I think it's one of the things that hits everybody. Some of the schools are in progress. Some are going. And at the beginning, when a lot of them started going back, they had to shut down again. That happened in almost every district. They would try to start it up, and then all of a sudden, we're going to have to close for 3 weeks because we've got an outbreak. I'm not hearing so much of that now. I don't know if it's the vaccines that have now started being, gotten out there. I know there's still a lot of teachers, a lot of child care people that are waiting to get a vaccine. My son, for instance, is a music teacher at a music school, not in the public schools yet. He hopefully will be one day, but right now he does work with kids. And he's in line to get it. There are no more appointments, But nonetheless, he still does go in and teach the kids. I think they have all these protocols in place, plexiglass. He actually has to teach. He does some on Zoom. So once he gets his vaccine and all the rest of them do, I think they'll be fine. Public school is the same way. I know some of the districts are just holdouts. And not being in that situation, it's just hard to know. I hear some of the teachers say, absolutely not. I'm not going back until everybody's vaccinated. Others say, nope, we need to be back. Personally, I can't imagine what it would be like for a kid to not be able to be sitting in the classroom and being there with their friends. But I think it's going to have to be different, at least when they do go back. I don't know how you just pack a classroom full of 35 kids again and put a teacher up front and everybody be safe. So honestly, I am completely in the dark about how this is going to play out.
Yeah, it's a tough battle. I mean, the kids, we had some great psychologists on last week in just talking through the mental side of what the kids are going through. It's a tough deal. Nobody has the right answer, and it's one of those things with lockdown. You know, you do your best you can in the moment it's in, and it's easy to go back 2020's hindsight and all of that. But it's, you know what, I think nobody wants the kids or teachers to be exposed and be unsafe. So I think everybody's got the best heart for it, but it's a hard situation. For sure.
Well, the same with us with seniors. I mean, it's awful to see them isolated.
Absolutely.
Thankfully, we have now vaccinated everybody on our campus at least once, and a lot of people, both of them.
That's right.
So we're hoping to get to open we're opening a little bit.
Yeah, baby steps.
Baby steps, but, you know, it's just an awful situation. So in saying that, we know it's been a horrible experience with COVID. So many people have lost their lives and lost their loved ones, but we love to ask everybody, have you seen any silver lining?
That's so funny. I've seen that posted like on Facebook and Twitter. Somebody will say, here's the silver lining, and you know how it is with Facebook or whatever. Somebody will immediately come back and attack. There is no silver lining, or something like that. But here's what I think it's been really good to see how everybody stepped up to help others when they could. It was disheartening at the very beginning to see how some people didn't. And I'm thinking of the toilet paper hoarders at the beginning.
Yes.
Like, oh, wait a minute. Everybody needs some.
Yeah.
But as time has gone on, people have we've had a story, for instance, about a lady who realized there was trouble with getting testing for some people who spoke lots more Spanish than English. She was completely bilingual, and it was in her area. So she put something out on the Nextdoor app and offered to help people get COVID testing if they couldn't understand the website or they didn't know how to navigate it. And then she moved from there to helping them set up their vaccination appointments. And we've talked at great length about what do elderly people do if they're not computer savvy, maybe they have trouble seeing, or it's just hard for all of us. And without other people stepping up to help others, it's hard for a lot of people to navigate through this. So that makes me happy that people are. And the other thing that's a bit of a silver lining to me, I hope we all start learning how important it is to continue to wash our hands and clean up after ourselves. I'm so happy to hear that there's been like no cases of flu practically in the entire state of Arizona this year.
I know.
Apparently lots more people got a flu shot, and then everybody's washing their hands incessantly, and the masks. I mean, not that we all want to wear a mask all the time, but you know what? Maybe during flu season, it wouldn't be such a bad idea.
I know. That is really true. There really has been very few cases of flu.
Very few. Very, very few. So that makes me happy. So I just hope that people continue to remember the happy birthday times too when they watch their hands.
Yes, exactly.
All right, before we let you go, Becky, I've got to ask you, is we drive to and from work, and I hear Broomhead on your show, and I hear some of the other ones. Even on the sports guys on 98.7, or I guess it's 92.3 now. How do you guys do your advertising? When I hear you, I even heard you this morning doing a laser commercial or some sort. I'd love to know behind the scenes how you allocate these different products. Is it stuff that you guys do and you position? But I get asked that a lot. How do these guys pick what advertisers they want?
So there's a couple of different ways. So those are called endorsement spots or spokespeople spots, and they're very popular on all talk radio stations across the country. So, and generally, the higher profile you are, the more apt you are to be a spokesperson or an endorser for that. So it's just something our salespeople will offer to our clients. And an endorsement spot is generally, if you will say, I've used this product, and you have used the product. We actually bring sometimes people that we work with. We'll say, you should advertise. And we'll bring them in and then maybe be their spokesperson because we are friends with them. We have used them over the years. You hear Gatos talk about the Arizona Painting Company, for instance.
Right.
They've painted his house, and he'll call on them again. And he knows them. And I know that he's personal friends with the financial people that he works with. He's known them for years. And so he can honestly say, these are good people. I trust them. And so that's why they like to do that.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. I knew it wasn't a bait and switch. I know you guys like them. I have just always wondered how they sit in a room and they decide, pull out of a hat who gets to play with who or what. I love it. No,
generally you can hear it's usually the higher profile shows and people because they'd like to have their name associated with somebody. And you know what, that's a little bit to me when I do it, since I'm doing news and I'm unbiased and all that, I'm very, very particular. If anybody ever brings to me and says, would you be interested in being a spokesperson for this place? I literally talk to them. I mean, everybody does, but I am so particular.
Yeah.
I've got to know all about you. I want to know, are you really good? I want to use your product. I want to know that I don't want to send anybody down a path that's not real. So I can promise that.
That's awesome. Good.
Oh, wow. It's been so fun talking to you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Well, it's been a great few minutes with you. Thank you, Becky.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Our residents love hearing, and I think with what you've had to go through 2020 in real-time news and getting it to us, I just appreciate all your guys' hard work.
Yeah, because that's got to be hard to hear it every day. We can at least turn off the news, but that's a tough part of your job.
It is tough. I was going to say we have somebody that just went on vacation, I think maybe for the first time since all this started, and he said, I'm out. I've got to take a break. And it's true. It's been one of the most stressful years continuing now that I think I've ever gone through. So, but we'll get through it.
Yep. Well, you guys are doing great stuff.
Yeah.
We appreciate you being on.
We love you.
Thanks. Keep listening.
All right. Thanks.
Bye, Becky.
We are so lucky now to be joined by this week's resident of inspiration.
Oh. Yes.
Betty Sidney, who was inspired by June Wang.
Yes.
And said, this is the lady that inspires her. So, Betty, thank you for joining us.
Yes. We're happy you're here.
Okay, you're welcome.
Now, I know how excited you are to do this. You're very excited to do this episode, right? I saw you walking around and you said, I couldn't be more excited to be on the TV and do this.
Yes.
I said I couldn't be more nervous than to be on TV and do this.
Oh, that's not what you said, Steve.
I must have misunderstood.
You thought she said
excited and couldn't be more happy
to talk with us.
I didn't understand nervous. Well, let's back up a second, Betty. When you heard June nominated you and you got the phone call that she did it and we needed you on this show, what was your first thought?
I was happy that someone thought that much of me, but I'm not a public upfront speaker, so I told her, don't do that again. But it's nice to hear.
Well,
it is an honor, though.
Oh, good, because we feel the same way. We're very excited to talk to you about your life and your life here at Glencroft. So when did you move in?
I've been here 2 years now.
2 years. From where? Did you live here in town before, or?
Well, yes, I moved here, been in Arizona for 4 years, 2 years in a home near my son, and then moved here. I was there 2 years and then here 2 years. Okay. So I've been in Arizona for 4 years.
Well, from where? Where'd you move from?
From Louisiana.
Okay.
Louisiana.
All right. And how do you like Arizona?
Well, I'm finally adjusting to the summer
Oh.
time, but I love Arizona.
Oh, that's good. I still haven't
And
adjusted.
especially, it,
Now, Betty, tell us this: when you moved to Glencroft 2 years ago, what was your expectations coming onto a campus like this? Did it immediately feel like, wow, this is a little small town, I love it here, or was that nervousness setting in of moving into this kind of facility and just understanding how to operate in this world?
no, because when I felt very comfortable moving into Glencroft. When I came in to talk to someone, it was Donna in marketing, and she made me feel so welcome and so at home, and told me of all the things that would be happening here. I could do as much as I want or as little as I want, and I really felt comfortable from the beginning being here.
Oh, that's good.
That's great. We hear that perspective a
And
lot.
Yeah.
Now, tell us
I
this.
have two sons.
Go ahead.
I have two sons, and I was in Louisiana, and they were here looking for a home for me to move here, to be near them. And they passed Glencroft, but they didn't think I wanted to be in here because all they saw was the outer parameters. They never came in.
Okay.
But once they came in, they were happy that I'm here too. So the whole
Nice.
family is happy.
That's fantastic. So you obviously have a group of people you do life with on this campus, I'm sure, and that's how June came to nominate you. But what are some things that you enjoy most about Glencroft? When you wake up in the morning, what do you enjoy getting out and doing, and what are some of the things that we offer you definitely take a part in?
Well, first of all, when I get out of bed, I thank God for another day, first of all. And then it's up to me what I want to do. I mean, so my first thing is to get up, put my exercise clothes on, and go take an early morning walk between 6:30 and 7. And I do that for 45 minutes. And then come home and rest, eat breakfast, and take another walk.
I
Man.
see you
And
walking.
when the campus is open, of course, when the campus is open, I volunteer down in activities. So right now, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, sure. But you sound very, very active on this campus, especially like you said, when we get back into the swing of things and moving this big ship as we do, it sounds like you're in full go mode most days.
Yeah, Steve, I love people. I'm a retired nurse, and so I just love helping. And so I'm around the campus speaking and talking to just about everybody.
Well, we've reached that moment, Betty, where next week we are going to put on our show Who You Nominate Right Now. So as this resident of Inspiration train moves along, where is it going to land next?
At Ida Bradbury's home.
Very
And the
good.
reason I'm choosing Ida is because she is, I admire her garden, her planting, her flowers.
Oh.
And she is also early morning walker. So I meet her on the sidewalk as we walk, meet her at the trash can, and we talk. And she's such a loving and giving person that you just want to, I just want her to come on.
Oh,
That is a
that's
great
a
nomination.
great choice.
I think everybody loves her gardens and her big
Yes.
trellises and all that she's done with that.
So
I mean, you just drive
beautiful.
by that area. I just love looking at it. And she must have a magical green
I
thumb
know, and
because
she's,
no matter how hot it gets, that lady's
It looks
garden
good.
explodes. It's unbelievable.
Well, she wants to do raised garden beds here on our campus, so
and she want to share. She'll share with anybody what's there.
right.
You know, so
Wow.
she's a very shit person.
So she is your nomination. What other ways has she impacted you personally besides the relationship you have? But what are some other ways that she was the one you thought of most when given this opportunity?
Well, like I said, she's such a caring and giving person. If she goes to a farmer's market and gets something, she'll always bring me something, you know, to
Aw.
share that I went to farmer's market today, so here's a little something for you. So she's just just a good person.
That's so great.
It is so great.
All right. Well, we appreciate you being here. I know it's one of those things we wish we could be with you right here in the middle of us. We're right at the final stage of the COVID and kind of getting past this, but these Zoom calls are great. I know technology is it's a positive and a negative because we can't be with you right now, but we appreciate you jumping on the call with us.
Yes, and keep walking. It's so good to see you out there every day.
How many miles a week are you plugging in?
Good.
How many miles a week, Betty, are you getting?
32.
32 miles a week?
32.
Yeah, because the other day I asked you and you said about 5 a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
awesome.
impressive. That is very impressive.
Yeah.
Keep moving, Betty.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you
Okay,
later. We
thank
thank you so much.
What a show.
God, I love that show.
I loved it
I love
too.
their resident of inspiration. I always do.
Oh, they're always
And
inspiring.
then, news reporter extraordinaire, all the
Yeah.
behind the scenes of the news. I love that.
I know. I've known Becky 30 some years and she's phenomenal still.
She
I
is
love
on
how
the
professional.
pulse. She's on the pulse of news
Yeah.
in 2020, which is like a big ordeal. And I love the questions about what's fake news, how do you process this, how do
Right.
you get it out. Anyway, I thought it was a great show.
It was.
We got another one next week.
Yes, we do.
Thank you very much.